Anyway, welcome. It's so lovely to be here with you live. If by any chance you're watching this later on down the line, say hello, won't you, so that I know that you've seen it. I actually went on my stories last night and said, I feel like I want to go live and talk about manifesting in terms of your life, manifesting in terms of your business. I was like, let's do this. Hello, my darling. How you doing? Hi, Louise. And I also asked if people had any questions, and Louise, you submitted a question. Thank you, darling. If you wanted to ask questions, we can jump on. We can work through things as well while we're on here in the live. So if anybody wants to do that, just, feel free. Oh, morning, Kate. How you doing? I'm just saying it's a little bit wobbly. Hello, my darling. Oh my God, Carice, what time is it there? Just saying, I wanted to just do this live about manifesting in your life and manifesting in your business as well. And I said to people, if you've got questions, by the way, if you are say hello, everybody, if you're here live, say hello if you watch it back afterwards so that I know that you was here. And loads of people were like, do it. So here I am. And I was like, if I look over here, I've actually got a post here that I posted ages ago. And I was like, this is at 5:30 in the morning. Morning, Ash. How are you doing? I've got a post that I posted ages ago here. And I was like, this is basically the essence of it. So this is going to be a bit of, morning, darling. A bit of a mini masterclass, really. Bit of a mini masterclass around around manifesting for life and business. And to be honest, when you're manifesting, you're just manifesting across the board. But I don't know about you, who read The Secret? Who's read The Secret? Because whilst I feel like The Secret is a amazing book, and it has been an incredible access point for so many people to open that conversation around, essentially what you believe will be your reality. You can actually create your reality. You co-create your reality with the universe. The Secret, I feel fucked things up for a lot of people. Have you read it, Louise? Yeah. I love it. But, I don't know about you. I remember when I read The Secret. I must have been in my early 20s when I read it. And, I've heard so much about it. I think it simplified the idea of co-creation, which was amazing. But also at the same time, I think the message kind of got lost along the wayside a little bit, and people started to think that manifesting was just, if I just think about something hard enough, I can make it drop out of the fucking sky. No. And I remember when I first read it, the thing that it told you to morning, Martina, the thing that it told you to start off manifesting was car parking spaces. Did you do that? Did you do that, Louise? I remember thinking, right, let's see if this works. I'm going to actually manifest car parking spaces. And it fucking worked. I used to get all the best car parking spaces in town. They were always right outside whatever shop it was. Nose is running. Whatever shop it was that I wanted to be going to, I could manifest these spaces. But I think the main thing about The Secret is it simplified things to the point that people start to think of manifesting as this passive sort of magic. This passive magic. Can you hear me all right? I've got my earphones in. Morning, darling. This passive magic where it's all just supposed to come through and land in your lap. And for me, manifesting is a verb. There's more to it than just intention. Intention is absolutely part of it. The way that you think impacts the way that you feel. The way that you feel impacts the next action steps that you'll take. And your action steps literally dictate your results. This is going to be a bit of an unpopular one. So sit down. The reality that you are living right now, you've created it. Whether you realise it or not, on a subconscious level, everything that you have, you want. And that can be a bit mind-blowing for people, but basically what we form the reality that's around us. We actually form the reality that's around us. Everything having is evidence of wanting on a very simple level. So I feel like this conversation around manifesting in life and business and everywhere across the board needs to be a bit more nuanced. So I decided I was going to share with you this morning in this, let's call it like a mini manifestation masterclass, these key pieces, I think, that have been part of the way that I think and the way that I manifest basically in my life. It's been the things that have been the foundational pieces of manifesting moves from the UK to Switzerland, from Switzerland to Dubai, from Dubai to Paris. It's been what I've used when I've taken the leap of leaving my full-time, highly paid corporate job and just walking away from it, a single mom with absolutely nothing, saying, I trust me to create something even better than this. It's, they're the foundational pieces of when I decided then, after I met Keith, we had 2 more children. I decided that I was going to go all in on my doula business. These are also foundational pieces in that. These are the nuts and bolts, in my opinion, of manifesting the kind of Lisa Sykes way, if you like. So I'm looking over here because I've got my computer here, and I wrote these bits down in a post, and I thought I'm just going to use them as my notes. So number 1, first thing, I decide things are going to happen. I don't hope things are going to happen. I just decide that's where I'm going. There's no maybe I'd like to. I'm very decisive, and because of the decisiveness, that actually is the energy that's behind making something happen, right? I'm like, right, let's go. So I was thinking about this when I was just on my walk in the forest with the dog, and I was like, right, what does that mean? How can I give real life examples of stuff like that? And the really easy one is when we decided, Keith and I were on a walk in Manchester, and we decided that we wanted to go on an adventure. We wanted to live in another country. We didn't know where. We were like, we'll go wherever the universe takes us. But we actually decided. We didn't hope, we decided. And we started to take actual steps. We were like, actual steps is what's required to close the gap between us and that future manifestation. The manifestation is just the actual material, result of all the steps that you take to get there. So you actually start to need to be that person now, and you have to decide it's happening, not hope it's happening. Because I think the reason that people say that they're going to hope that something's going to happen rather than decide it is they don't actually trust themselves to pull it off. I think that's part of it. They don't actually trust themselves. Yeah, decide, don't hope. That's what it is, darling. It's not yeah, hopefully I'll do this or hopefully I'll do that. Totally different frequency, totally different energy, and the action steps that you'll take will be totally different. So for example, when we were deciding that we wanted to move from the UK to Switzerland, what would a person be doing? I'm just watching this parasol, it's about to take off, by the way. What would a person be doing, spin it back round, that knew, not hoped, that knew that they were going to be moving to another country? Well, they'd be sorting the shit out, wouldn't they? They'd be looking at where they wanted to live. They wouldn't just be looking at where they wanted to live. They'd be reaching out to people there. They would be selling all their shit in their house, regardless of whether they actually already knew where they were going or when they were going. They would be making moves now. So it's like, how can I be that person? Yeah, learn to speak Swiss, French or Italian or German in Switzerland. We ended up in the French bit, but it's stuff like that. It's like, right, I'm going to learn the language of where it is that I want to be. I want to be there, so that a person who's going to go and live in Switzerland, if that's where they'd chosen, would be like, well, I want to live in Lausanne. I need to start to learn French. But all these other pieces of the puzzle that you're doing, the actual action steps are decisive. They're not hope based. They're absolutely decisive. So the first thing I want to say is, decide. Decide that you're going to make it work. Decide that if there are obstacles, you are going to overcome them. You are not going to let anything get in your way, and you're just going to keep moving towards the thing that you want to manifest. It's as simple as that. It's decide versus hope. So that was the first one. So the next one that I wrote down was, I keep taking action and I don't give a rat's ass what anyone else thinks about me or what anyone else thinks about my decisions. I think this one trips people up so much. People are so concerned with what other people's opinions are. What are people going to think? What are people going to think about this? How is it going to look to everybody else? That, I bet, I wonder if this is the one that trips people up the most. The what will other people think part. What will they think if it doesn't work? Well, first of all, it's not going to not work because I fucking decided it's going to work. So whatever. And ultimately, what people think, you can't control. You cannot control what I think. You'll never be able to control what I think. And therefore, the same goes for everybody else. Do you know what I think it is, Louise? Louise has just put here, it's like the biggest cock blocker. I think it is. I think it is. Because you're just like, what are my parents going to think? What are my family going to think? What are my friends going to think? What are fucking random people on the internet going to think? And ultimately, you are just a tiny, tiny moment in their lives. And when it's people that are just random people out there. But like, are you going to let what other people think stop you from achieving what you're here to achieve, for doing the things that you want to do, for being the person that you want to be? Are you going to let that happen? And my answer is no, I'm not. Because the next layer to that is, I have the emotional intelligence, the kindness and compassion and capacity to have those conversations. I don't need to like almost like be like, fuck you, even though for some people it will definitely be a massive fuck you. But like, I also can manage courageous conversations. I can have courageous conversations. I can say to people, listen, I can tell that this is really hard for you, the idea of me doing X, Y, and Z, but this is really important to me, and that's what I'm going to be doing. Or if people actually outright say to you, why are you doing that? Oh, do you think you are? It's like, I'm doing this for me. I don't need to justify it. I'm doing it for me. I've got a place that I want to be. I've got a goal that I want to reach. I've got a thing that I'm manifesting. And if I'm going to get there, the way that I'm going to get there is by taking these action steps and having the emotional intelligence and resilience to actually navigate those conversations. So I think another part is saying to yourself, if you're worried about what other people think, okay, like, how would that conversation go? And could I manage it? Could I navigate that conversation? Yes or no? And for me, it's always a yes. There's no conversation that I'm not willing to have in pursuit of what it is that I'm going for, in pursuit of what it is that I'm creating. Because here's the thing. Sometimes they might have a valid point, they might have something you haven't thought of. And if you can take that in that emotionally intelligent way, in that sort of like open-hearted, open-minded way, you might learn something. It's why, you know, when if you've been following recently, I had a person that blocked me and said all kinds of stuff and like was pretty out of order. I didn't bother blocking them, but I was like, let's get curious about this. Maybe I can learn something in this. Maybe them being triggered by me and me being like activated and triggered in return is a massive learning opportunity. If you haven't read the book Untamed, go and get it and go straight to the chapter that's called Deliveries. It is like if that one chapter was the whole book, then I had read enough. I'm just going to read this comment here. Just realised this was going on for my brother. He did not want good for me and fought me. I fought back instead of getting on with it. Yeah, absolutely. And also like sometimes within there it might feel like it's a fight, but also like I choose not to fight. I choose to just be like, stand in my power And that's what it is. Because I think sometimes getting into a fight with people about these things is actually counterproductive. If you are fighting back rather than just this is basically a reaction rather than a response. If you can respond, if you can actually just respond, then you come at this from a more grounded, like a more like self-assured perspective. And actually, I feel like I get further in those circumstances. So like, if you feel like you're wanting to fight back, you're probably also being triggered. Do you know what I mean? There's probably something for you to get curious about in there as well. So that, I think we can probably all agree, is like the massive cock blocker of manifesting anything in your life or business. What other people are going to think, what are they going to think, and what are they going to say? And what I say to that is like, what you are doing, what you are trying to achieve, what mark you want to leave on this world, that's about you. How they feel, what they think is about them, and we can't control anyone else other than ourselves. So lead yourself at that point. Lead yourself without justification or explanation. Be compassionate, be emotionally intelligent, allow people to have their thoughts and feelings, but effectively stay in your own fucking lane. Stay in your own lane and model what you want them to do, which is to stay in their own fucking lane. So that's what I want to say about that. So what was the next one that I wrote down here? So I wasted loads of energy trying to persuade him, right, when he had nothing to do with it. Exactly. Like persuading, you don't need to do. It's like, this is me, this is where I'm going, this is who I am, stay in your lane kind of thing. So, because I think when people are persuading, they often don't realise that they're persuading themselves. So stop. Like, don't do that. So the other thing that I wrote down, or the other thing that's on this post anyway, was that I don't dither. I'm decisive. And I touched upon this earlier. I touched upon this at the beginning. Morning, darling. How are you doing? Elena's just arrived in the building. I am decisive. So one of the things that I do is that I will just literally, oh shit, drop my earplug out. Hang on a second. Can you hear me? I'm back. Hang on a minute. I've lost my thingamajig. Where are we? I've got a post here that I'm looking at to remind me. I'm like, this is my notes for this, basically. I'm decisive. If I see an obstacle, I'm just going to turn it into an opportunity. Good morning, my darling. I'm going to turn it into an opportunity. And I'm not going to dither. Like, I'm going to be like, right, okay, so this is what we're coming across. This is the obstacle. How do I get round it? Because like I said at the beginning, I'm not hoping that something's going to happen. I've decided something's going to happen. So I want to give you a real life example of this. And this came up with somebody in the DMs yesterday. So I said hi to one of my new followers, like I always do. And they were a new doula. And they were sort of saying, you know, where they were at on their adventures. They'd just finished their doula training and they were going to be like going out there and doing the thing. And what they said was along the lines of, but, you know, I've got young children and my husband's a teacher, so I'm not sure how I'm going to make it work just yet. But, you know, here I am figuring it all out. I decided when I trained as a doula, married to a teacher, with a 14-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 10-month-old, that it was going to work. I was like, I'm going to make it work. Here's the thing. What you believe will be the reality. Back to what I said at the beginning. Having is evidence of wanting. And this is where the whole, like, thoughts become things comes in, right? What you believe will be the reality, because what you believe will inform the next steps that you take. Excuse me, I want to do a big burp then. So I'll give you this example of becoming a doula and thinking, right, I really want to do this. Like, this is part of my life's mission to serve, right? And to make a difference to humanity. But there's certain obstacles in the way. I'll need to figure out childcare. Where can I get all my ducks in a row to be on call and to make it work and all of that stuff, right? I love this. Yeah, exactly. Elena, right. So I was like, how do I make it work? Not I can see all the obstacles, like my husband's a teacher, so his set time to start is going to be like immovable, or like, you know, my children are a certain age and this is what time the nursery opens or the childcare opens. And here's the thing, when I was doulaing in Switzerland, I didn't even have any family around me, and the kids came home for lunch every fucking day. But I decided I'm going to make it work. So there's two bits to this, I think. Decide. Again, back to the decision, but what you believe, what you put out there will be the reality, and it will impact the next steps that you take. So let's take a person who says, at the moment, I can't make this work because of X, Y, and Z. Stop. Like, do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Do not be a doula. Stay where you are. Versus the person, aka me, who goes, I want to be a doula. Obstacles become opportunities. How do I make this happen? And I worked through the pieces of the puzzle. At the time, my mum and dad were both still working full time, so I couldn't call on them to look after the kids if I got called out. Keith was a teacher, so there was an element of that wasn't super flexible. What did I do? I went to the nursery that, I think it was Hebe's at the time. Both of them had been in this nursery at one point, but we put the two kids in separate nurseries because they were so close in age. We were like, let them have their own space. So I went to the nursery who had set hours, set times, and all of that stuff, and said, listen, I know that you've got set hours, set times, and, you know, you've got to have a contract to be in on this day and that day because of your staffing and all the rest of it. But here's the situation for me. I'm a doula. I'm going to be on call. There's a chance that my children might need some childcare outside of the things that we're committed to. And at the time, they just had like the free 15 hours or whatever. And it might be kind of weird outside of hours. It might be that there's a bit of ad hoc needed. And this nursery, who were famous for being actually really fucking awkward and hard work, said, if we can make it work, then if you ring up, let's say if you ring up at 7 o'clock in the morning and say, so like, let's say I got called out at 2 o'clock in the morning, Keith got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, he gave a call to the nursery and said, Lisa's been called out to a birth, is it possible for me to drop the kids round so that, so that you can take care of them while I'm at work, kind of thing. It's not a day that they would normally be in there. You can do that. Basically, the nurses said, you can do that, and if we've got the staff in, we will cover it. Now, me, being me, I'm like, that's enough. I trust the universe. I trust that everything will line up. Everything will line up and everyone will always be exactly where they need to be. So we took that option and we said, ask also for what you need. Ask for support. So the support that I asked for, I sort of said, if this falls on a day when, Mum, you could maybe pick them up after you finish work or whatever, how would that look? And they were like, if it works for me, nobody could make any guarantees because everybody else had their own commitments, we'll be there. And my job at that point was literally to then just trust everybody would be where they needed to be. Everybody would be where they needed to be. And you know what? They always were. I could have been someone who said, until my kids are a certain age, I can't do X, Y, and Z because there's no flexible childcare and there's no that. I could make assumptions based on what the terms and conditions were of that nursery. But I was like, I'm just going to ask for what I need. What's the fucking worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And I think people miss this all the time. And the other version of this was when I got to Switzerland. When I got to Switzerland and I wanted to be on call, I was faced with even more complicated situations. Because in Switzerland, the kids don't even, the young two, Emily had already left home by this point. She's at university. She's doing her own thing. But Hebe and Sid both were at school. And they didn't even go to school on the same fucking days. They didn't even go, and Wednesday afternoon, Sid didn't go to school full stop. Hebe only went for the afternoon. Tuesday, he went a full day. She went half a day. The whole thing was an absolute fucking schmozzle. So many people would have said to themselves, well, that won't work. And I was like, watch me make it fucking work, bitch. Watch me make it work. The art of asking. The art of asking. And I think, again, going back to what I was saying earlier in this live, which was people are worried about what people are going to think and say, maybe the art of asking is missed when people are worried about what people are going to think and say. So what did I do? I was like, how can I make this work? Now, I won't go into it because we haven't got time, but I had all kinds of like amazing entrepreneurial ideas and made it work and actually made money at the same time. Like, we haven't got time for all that shit, but suffice to say, people want to help. People wanted to help me. People aren't all twats. People like helping people. If I like helping people, then other people like helping people. And that's what happened. And we made it work. And I had friends who said, look, I can't guarantee it that I'm going to be available if you get called out. But between them, I was like, there's enough there. There's enough transparency with my clients about what I can do. I trust. Now I'm going to sit back in trust because everybody is always exactly where they need to be. I just firmly believe that. So be decisive. Like, decide, okay, that's going to happen. I'm not going to see it as an obstacle. And remember that what you believe will be the reality. So if you believe you can't make something happen, you won't make it happen because you won't take the steps to make it happen. But if you believe obstacles become opportunities, you'll make it happen. I did, over and over and over and over again. That's how I've got to where I am now. And decisions can be reversed. Who knew? Who knew that you could make a decision and then go, maybe that wasn't the best decision. Maybe I'll choose something else. Spoiler alert, when you make a decision, you don't sign it in blood. You don't sign it in blood. Like, there's been decisions that I have made in my life and in my business where I've gone, actually, that probably wasn't the right decision. It was the right decision then, but now I need to course correct. I need to find a different direction kind of thing. So giving you an example around this as well. I remember this is when I was doulaing in the UK, and I was interviewed by someone and they were 41 weeks pregnant. She was 41 weeks pregnant. She was looking for a doula, really last minute, obviously. I went and was interviewed by them, all fine. And essentially what happened was, and I've done a post about this, I'll probably share it in my stories in a bit. Essentially what happened was they, at the time I had a sliding scale, and I said to them, look, I'm not going to be on call for you for long, obviously. So I'm happy to work for the bottom of the sliding scale. And they were like, that's great, that's cool. And I literally went on call that night. I went on call there and then that evening. The next day I was at another client's house doing an antenatal preparation session with them, and the phone rang, and it was this client. And I was like, fucking hell, this is like the world's shortest on-call period. It's been like 12 hours. I literally, like, how did that happen? Great. And so obviously I answered the phone straight away because I could have been getting called out to a birth, but they were like, oh no, actually, you know, everything's fine. I was like, you all right? They were like, yeah, everything's fine. There's no problem. But we've been thinking about it, and we wondered if you would consider lowering your rate, because obviously, like, we're only going to get another one thingy in, you know, antenatal session, and you're definitely not going to be on call for that long. And this person even talked about, if the birth is short, you know, could we reduce it as well? Like it was performance related fucking pay. If the birth's shorter, you should pay me more. But anyway, that's another story. So basically, I was really caught off guard, and I actually said, yes, okay, yeah, I will do it. I will do it for the reduced rate that you said, even though it was already the bottom of the sliding scale. What happened? I put that phone down and I just felt resentment washing over me. Just absolute fucking resentment washing over me. Good morning, hi darling. So I left this antenatal appointment and I went outside and I got in my car, and I just thought to myself, I don't feel good about that decision. I do not feel good about the decision. And I checked in with my mentor and I was like, what do you think? And she said to me, you know, basically, I mean, she didn't say it like this. These are my words. Basically, she said, listen, you didn't sign anything in blood. You can change your mind on a decision. Decisions aren't like, that's it, set in stone. And I was like, I actually don't want to do it for that lower rate. I don't want to do it for that lower rate. I feel really resentful about that. And so what I ended up doing was I course corrected. This is what I mean about decisions. You can make decisions and then actually say, do you know what? That no longer feels like an aligned decision for me. That no longer feels like the direction that I want to go. That no longer feels good. I feel resentment. I feel whatever it is. And change decision. Change direction, course correct. If you just get, like, if you hit a bump in the road, if you're driving, right, and you hit a fucking bump in the road, do you just let go of the wheel and career into the fucking ditch at the side, do you know what I mean, into oncoming traffic? No, you go bump in the road, what's going on, get hold of the steering wheel and go, I'm fucking going over there, I ain't going over there. And that's what I did. So I went back to him and I said, hey, listen, before I did this, I did a little bit of prep, but I went back and said, hey, I've just had to think about it and actually it doesn't feel good to do that. I know I said that I was okay reducing it, but actually I'm not okay reducing it. It's well worth the fee. And actually you're already getting a great deal because you've come at 41 weeks. And here's the contact details of some newer doulas that are doing, that are charging lower rates and things like that. All the best. Good luck. And they emailed me back and said, oh, it's all right, we'll pay you the full price. And that's when I did go, nah. So, Dice just said, I go over road bumps a lot. Look, listen, the life and business is full of bumps in the road. Our job is to notice when we feel the bump, and be like, where is this taking me and where do I want to go, and take hold of the steering wheel and steer back in the direction that we want to go. That's our job. That is our job. So decision making doesn't mean decision and that's it. I have made decisions. I don't know if M's still on here, but we've worked together for a while. Like, I'm thinking about business now. I have made decisions in my business that I have spent money on. And I've afterwards gone, actually, that's not where we need to be. We need to go over here. But actually, like, there's no regret there because that taught me that that's where I wanted to be. It's just a lesson in course correcting. I'm not going to sit around and like crying to my fucking cornflakes because I made that decision. That decision is what gets me to where I want to be. So the continual like evolution and refining, but like the like eyes on what's going on without it being like, I've made this decision and I need to go in that direction at all costs. Like, that's the other part of it. Don't dither. Make decisions, because what is the worst that can happen? You change your fucking mind. You choose a new decision. That's it. It's that simple. Trust yourself that you can navigate those decisions and course correct wherever you need to. So let's have a look what else I put down here. I move without proof. I move without proof. Without proof that things are going to work. Without proof that everything's going to be all right. Because I am in this for the long haul. I'm in it for the long haul, for my evolution, my personal evolution. Oh, there's a bug. Can you see it? For my personal evolution, for the evolution of my business, and for the evolution, I'm going to be really fucking like big on this, of the whole of mankind through the impact that my work gets to have. It's like I'm in for the long haul. And so that is going to require me moving without proof sometimes. Moving without proof things are working. Moving without proof things will work. Making bold decisions and going for it. And there's several people live on this now who I can point out, you know you are, who have moved without proof over and over again, and they are reaping the rewards in their lives and in their businesses. They are creating massive impact. They are creating massive money. They are creating massive personal growth. And that's because sometimes they've gone, I don't know if this is going to fucking work, but I trust myself to give it a go and course correct if it doesn't. Move without proof. I remember What month are we in now? It's end of June, isn't it? 12 months ago, no, more than that, 18 months ago, not quite, no, doesn't matter anyway, it's irrelevant. Around spring of last year, I decided that I was going to hire a coach. I was going to hire a coach. I already had 2 coaches, but I was going to hire a specific coach that I've been thinking about working with for a while. Vic, anyone who knows me knows that I've worked with Vic now ever since then. And I was like, this feels big. This feels really, really big, but I know that I need to do something to shift to the next level. And what I ended up doing was I hired her for like a short-term one-to-one. And I remember it cost me either double, it might have been more than double what I'd earned in the past 2 months to hire her for this short term. And I was like, I've got no proof this is going to fucking work, but I'd back myself. I back myself. I know that I'll learn something. I'll get something out of it. I'll squeeze everything out of it. I'll draw all the wisdom out of it. I'm going to do it. And so, no proof that any of it was going to work. Booked on with her. We had the most mind-blowing week together. And I tell her with like regularity, it was like it will go down in history, in the history of my business and in the history of my life, as one of the most impactful weeks of my whole entire existence. The money that I spent there, 2 months, for 2 months I sat in the void. I changed a lot of things in my business. I moved things around. It wasn't just like from a mindset and energetic perspective. This was like strategic. There was a lot of pieces that had to shift and change. I moved things around. I put it in place. And then I did what I call standing in the void. And anybody who's worked with me knows what I mean by standing in the void, where you actually do the thing, you make the changes, and then it's about trusting yourself that it's going to come good. Taking the action steps, keep taking the action steps, but trusting that even though there might be a dip, and for that, there was a dip, I had a massive dip in income. And then the next news, boom, we were fucking back, and we were back bigger and better than ever because it worked. But I had no proof that it was going to work. But what I knew was, if it wasn't, I would have learned the thing that happened like that and made that particular sort of set of like set that particular set of like what's the word I'm looking for, set the wheels in motion on that particular thing. If that hadn't been the outcome, I trusted myself that I would be able to course correct. I would learn. I would like, it would be, something would happen for a reason in that process. And oh my God, I am so fucking grateful that I did. So I want you to remember, you've got to move without proof sometimes. I'm just looking what this next slide is. It's getting sunny over here. You've got to move without proof sometimes. You know, it's not always going to work, but say to yourself, whatever that thing is, right, I back myself. I back myself that I can learn something. I will, like, my return on investment might not necessarily be exactly what it was that, that I handed over, but energetically, I will receive. I will absolutely receive. So the other thing that I wanted to share from this post over here is the long haul vibes. Like, you've got to be in for the long haul vibes. On this I've put, I'm in for the long haul because I'm not a toddler who needs everything now. Like instant gratification, people. It's not Amazon. It's not Amazon Prime. Not everything just happens like that. Not everything happens just like that. And do you know what? One of my greatest teachers, and actually it's funny that Eleanor's on here as well because she's an athlete and I know that this will resonate as well. Like, one of my greatest teachers when it comes to the long haul vibes has been sport, has been exercise, and has been running. It's like let me tell you, right? I will never stop bragging about the fact that I've run a marathon and several half marathons ever, because doing a marathon, and it's not the actual, I know, darling, and like, if that's the only thing people take away from it, like action steps and seeing that it's got to be a long haul thing. If you're not willing to be on the long haul path, then get a fucking job. Just get a fucking job. And I also, back on that, I don't want to derail myself too much. You can do both. Like, get a job to facilitate you being able to be on the long haul vibes of your business, right? But coming back to sports, right? Coming back to sports, this is it, right? Ellen has said it there, 1% better every day. 1% better every day. One thing that I have learned is consistency is a long haul situation. It's an overtime situation. If you think you're going to walk into the gym and start deadlifting, 110 kilos straight off the bat, then you're already an athlete, basically. But you know what I mean? It's like these things are compounding. Like, long haul vibes is the compounding of all the pieces that you are doing. All the pieces that you are doing on the daily. Some days you will have a day where you're like, I've fucking smashed it today. I've smashed it. I've done all the things that I really wanted to do. I feel like I've achieved loads of stuff. Like, it's been amazing. Like, why can't I just have like 5 days a week like that? And some days you will just be like, how did I actually manage to crawl out of my pit this morning and string together enough breath to make it through the day? Like, what I want you to see is this: consistency and long haul vibes. You've got to zoom out. You have got to zoom out. You've got to zoom out and see it. And the one thing that marathon training taught me is this: it's boring. Long haul vibes is not sexy. It's boring as fuck. To run a marathon, one of the things that you need to be able to do, basically, don't matter how fast, is stay on your feet for 3 hours, right? You just have to be able to stay on your feet for 3 hours. It doesn't matter if you are a marathon runner who's doing 10-minute miles, 6-minute miles, 15-minute miles. You've got to be able to stay on your feet for 3 hours. That's it. And do you know what's going to get in your way of anything when it comes to staying on your feet, i.e. the long haul vibes of being on your feet for 3 hours? This. Your brain. It is not a physical thing. It is all mental. It's all mental, and the killer of it is boredom. Boredom. Because we are all dopamine hungry, Amazon Prime rablats that want everything yesterday, today. Get it through the door now. I want it now. Instant gratification. Give it to me. If you can master the art of consistency over time, if you can master the art of the long haul vibes, 1% better every day, compounding effects underneath, you will reach greatness. You'll reach greatness because action, you've got all the actions, all the strategy, all of those things, but the thing that will trip you up and pull you out of the game every time is this. Every time. And that is why, everyone knows that I'm a life and business coach, because you bring all of yourself to your business. People are like, I don't think I need a life coach, I need a business coach. My darling, if you've got a business, you absolutely need to sort your life out, because this little hamster with all its patterns, all its stories, all its back information, conditioning, it's running the show. It's absolutely fucking running the show. So, long haul vibes, master it. See the compounding effects, 1% better every day. That is what's going to get you there. But most people just don't have the fucking They just, I think that's where training for a marathon has taught me about delayed gratification. So what you need to do is find the gratification in the things that you're doing on the day-to-day. You've got to find the gratification there. I'm just checking here on here what I wrote down. I scribbled. Like this is how I write notes for a live. It's just a brain fart, basically. I'm like, right, that's what we'll talk about. So I do the work because manifesting in my world means making shit happen. And I feel like that is the place to finish on this. That's the place to finish on this. How you think will impact how you feel. If you think you can't make something happen, you will never make it happen. If you believe that something will be an obstacle, it will literally be the speed bump in the road continually that you are grabbing the steering wheel back from. What you believe, you receive. What you believe will come to be. And so if you work on nothing else, work on your beliefs. Just start to see how they are stopping you from taking those action steps. Because the action steps, let's go right back to the beginning, to the secret. The secret fucked things up around manifesting because so many people thought that manifesting just meant don't work like that. Think, believe, feel, do. Ta-da! Results. That's how it works. Do the work. In my world, manifesting means making shit happen. It is a verb. It is a verb. Understand how the way that you think is interrupting your verbs, your action, your doing things. Remember it. Remember it. So that's what I thought I'd share with you today. What else was I going to say? So much crap scribbled down on this piece of paper. No, I think that's it. Anyway, oh yes. So that's what I was going to say. When I put the question box on my stories yesterday, here's something, and it kind of goes back to one of the points that I was making, which was ask for what you need. Here's something that really fucks with my brain. I have people in my DMs telling me that they are manifesting one-to-one coaching with me, right? This is a great example actually, and it ties perfectly into this whole video, that they are manifesting being able to afford to work with me one-to-one. Why are people not then, when they are given the opportunity to ask for what they need, and in this scenario it's a question box, why are people not putting fucking questions in there? Why? I know the people that are doing the work. The people that are doing the work are the people that are already working on that manifesting are the ones that do put fucking questions in boxes when they're given an opportunity to ask. There's actually something very telling about a situation where you give people an opportunity to ask for what they need and they actually don't do it. You are self-sabotaging people. So the question that I'll quickly finish with for my darling Louise was, how do you think of the names of your masterclasses? How do you think in the names of your masterclasses? So the way that I think of names for masterclasses is I like things to be simple as possible. As simple as possible. Do you remember? I'm going to show my age now. But Louise is younger than me, but Louise will remember this. Me and Louise are on a par with the cultural references. Do you remember the Ron Seal adverts? It does exactly what it says on the tin. That's what I want. I want people to come and see exactly what it is, because it does exactly what it says on the tin. And actually what's happened over time, they've got simpler and simpler and simpler. So what I try to do is make it as easy as possible. My little tips here when you are creating the names of courses, masterclasses and programs is clear is better than clever. Clear is better than clever. Make it do exactly what it says on the tin is mine. But what I also want to say to you, this is to you, darling, obviously, Louise, that is cohesive with my overall brand as well. Because if you think about my brand is direct, it's simple, it's no bullshit, right? That is, do you remember it, Faye, as well? Does exactly what it says on the tin. That's it, right? So if the way that I speak is exactly what it says on the tin, there's no, we're not like dancing around shit, are we? We're getting to the point, then I'm going to get to the point. And I think that has refined and refined and refined over time. So if we think about, excuse me, in my 7-hour training bundle, if anybody wants all my free masterclasses, you just go to the link in my bio, you sign up, it sends you 7 hours of free training with me. People that say that they want to work one-to-one with me and don't even go through all the free shit. When I had a coach that I was looking at, okay, go back to Vic in this example. When I was looking to work with Vic before I could afford, or AKA make the decision that I was going to back myself, I literally took every single piece of her free content, consumed it and put it in place. I think that's probably why I also had such incredible results when I did finally get to work one-to-one with her. Go and consume all the free content. Go and consume all the free content. So back to the question, Louise, in my free masterclasses, which you can get in the link in my bio, you'll see that it's just like the boundaries basics. It's the basics around setting boundaries. What are boundaries? How does it work? You've got the abundance basics. You've got abundant as fuck. You know, my programs are called RICH. Now, RICH is an acronym. Louise, you did RICH, so you know this. RICH is an acronym, so there's a little bit more went into that. But I want people to just know what it is. So, yeah, the answer to that question, darling, is Ron Seal. Always ask yourself, like, are people Googling this? Are people what are people Googling? How are people thinking? What are they saying? People are not. I had this conversation with someone yesterday. Like, I know what a thought leader is, right? I know what a thought leader is. But I don't know, what's the face down the road Googling, how can I become a thought leader? No. So, that's what I want to say about that. Right, I'm going to go, darlings. You know where I am if you need me. I'm so excited for the summer. If you haven't signed up for Abundant AF, put a pineapple, and if you want it, put a pineapple on this live, and I'll send you the link so that you can sign up for it. If you want my free 7-hour masterclasses, put a comment here and I'll lead you straight to it. And you can have 2 abundance ones. Spiritual AF is in there now. The Money Magnet Masterclass. Manifesting Magic. What else is in there? There's like 7 hours. The 4 things that successful heart-led entrepreneurs do. There's so much shit in there, I can't even remember. That's how good it is. All right, my darlings. Pineapples, let's do all the pineapples. So the pineapple thing is not mine, right? Pineapple season is coming is Melanie Ann Leah of Alpha Femme, and anybody who knows me knows that I love that story. Pineapple season. That is long-term vibes 101. Pineapples take 18 months to grow. Pineapples take 18 months to grow. 1 pineapple. And yet there's loads of fucking pineapples, isn't there? Got pineapples for days. And people are not willing to water their pineapples until they grow. People expect to see the results of their things instantly. It's back to instant gratification. And sometimes you have to be patient like a pineapple farmer and trust that things are going on under the surface. If the pineapple farmer is fertilizing, weeding, taking care, loving the soil, continually planting seeds, planting, watering, taking care, then the harvest will come. Everybody's ready for the harvest. No fuckers willing to do the work. So there, going to end on that. All right, my darlings, I love you all. It's been so nice to spend a bit of time with you this morning, and I'll catch you later. Lots of love.